You know, it's been so long. I'm not sure that I can really get into detail.
He's the little cat that goes snarf. He's kind of like the precursor to Hodor.
Hi guys, welcome. We have with us the showrunners for Condor, which is the new AT&T audience show. And so one thing I want to ask is, obviously there was 3 Days of the Condor back in the 70s, the Sidney Pollack film. Robert Redford starred in it, amazing. And this is sort of inspired by. So tell me about what the idea was of taking that kind of seminal spy film and then turning it into this series.
We really, at first, when the call came, we said to each other no, because when you're dealing with an iconic piece of material that has such a large fan base, and your fear is that you can only disappoint people, and it's a perfect film. Yeah. So why does it need to be redone? And the more that we went back to the film and rewatched it, and the more we thought about it, the more we realized that there was a whole story that was going on beyond the edges of the frame. Yeah. That was ripe for exploration, and that there were all these great characters that we could, that a movie doesn't have time to deal with in 2 hours, that we could really give life to, and also the movie correctly predicts the future, and there's that prophetic element to it, and so we started to talk to each other about, well, what could the next kind of paranoid conspiracy be, and so this show is an outgrowth of that.
It seemed suddenly as though there was a real convergence between the paranoid time of the mid-70s and the post-Watergate era and our current cultural moment, which has only become more so, of course, in the years since we've started working on this show.
And that must have been really interesting as writers to go, well, we are writing right into the climate right now. And did you feel like there was much that you needed in terms of, obviously the dates and the issues of the time period of the movie you need to contemporize, but was there much that thematically surprised you that you really kind of didn't have to change too much in terms of the tone and tenor?
The themes are so universal that really, from a thematic point of view, there was very little that we had to change. The challenge was trying to find the events that, as Jason said, the movie really predicted the future. And so our biggest challenge was, well, what is going to be the big event at the center of this show that seems so far-fetched in the moment, but that 10 years from now might seem a little bit less so.
So let's talk about some of the casting. You've got Max Irons, who is your lead, but then you've got some really amazing high caliber actors, William Hurt, Bob Balaban, and you've got Brendan Fraser, who doesn't always do dramas but is moving more towards that. Tell me a little bit about what you were thinking of and the kind of people that you wanted to bring into this story.
Well, with each of the actors cast, we had a kind of, each actor brought with them a revelation to the character, and each actor was really instrumental in the shaping of each character. And so, for example, we had a 2.5-hour Skype session with Brendan Fraser one night.
Oh, cool.
And realized that not only was he perfect for the role, but that the character needed to be changed to, because everything that he was saying and everything that he was talking about and reading into the character and into the show, and kind of looking back at the movie, was really kind of like scintillating. And we realized that the character of Nathan Fowler, who is Brendan's character, needed to change to kind of, to match everything that he was that he was saying over this very intense 2.5-hour Skype session. Cool. And so, and with each of the actors, the characters that we had envisioned began to change, and so each of those actors really brought something special to the character that they played, and
we really just feel so fortunate that this caliber of cast was willing to take a bet on the material and elevate it as much as they did. It's a pretty amazing thing.
Let me ask you a genre question now. So we're sci-fi, and we're all about fan things. So, you guys having been in the business and writing, what was the first thing that you kind of geeked out on? What was the thing that was your passionate love, television, comics, books? What was the thing?
First thing I can remember really freaking out over, and it might sound silly, but was the Thundercats cartoon.
That's not silly at all.
Yeah. I can absolutely remember playing Thundercats on the blacktop at recess.
How you feel about Snarf? Up, down.
You know, it's been so long. I'm not sure that I can really get into detail.
He's the little
Snarf.
He's kind of like the precursor to Hodor.
He is the early Hodor. That's absolutely perfect. And yours?
In 1982, I was 8 years old, and I was sick, and I stayed home from school, and my mother took me to this. It was called Colony Cards, and it was a candy store, and they had a comic book rack, and I don't know. Maybe there might have been a pharmacy in there or something. I don't know why we had to go there. Maybe she had to get some medicine for me or something. But she told me that I could get a comic book, and I went to the rack, and I was I was looking at the rack, and I saw G.I. Joe number, I think it was like number 4 or 5, or it was pretty early still in the series. Maybe it was 10, and I bought that, and I think I bought 2. I think I bought issue 9 and 10, let's say, and I went home and I read them, and the next day my mother took me to Collector's Comics, and I bought the whole series.
Entry drag accomplished.
And I fell in love with it. And I had a very big comic book collection that I inherited from my dad's son-in-law, and my stepdad's son-in-law, and he gave me a few thousand comics, and so
my gosh.
And so I devoured that collection as well, but there was no G.I. Joe in it, and so it was a much older collection, and so I discovering G.I. Joe I was obsessed.
Awesome.
And I loved Snake Eyes.
Nice.
Obviously.
Well, thank you guys, and congratulations on the show.
Thank you.